Who you telling? She.
All right. Hello, YouTube. How are you doing today? Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. This is Contextually Challenged. I am James, Girl Dad Gaming.
Jay, Ethereal.LLC.
Tony, military veteran.
Chris, Ethereal LLC.
And we're here to talk your ears off for a couple hours tonight. I'm going to let Jay go ahead and tell you kind of what the overall episode is about. And then we'll probably get on to Chris Rants to start the episode out.
So, love the fact that we're back to full strength. The Bearded Wonder is back. It's been 2 very long weeks, but lovely to have you back, brother.
Thank you.
And super stoked to be joined by our guest, Tony, tonight.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Absolutely. Before we kind of get into the meat and potatoes of what we're going to be talking about, I'd love to just have you maybe just talk about yourself, your experience, what your perspective is. Who are you as a person in a brief blurb, right? The hardest thing you can really do. But, just give us a general idea of who people are talking to.
Ah, man, that's a tough question right there. Kind of put me on the spot. But no, I am a military veteran. I did Army for 8 years, started in 2009. I got out in 2017. I did a tour in Afghanistan in 2012 and 2013 with the 320th MP, which I absolutely loved. Was the biggest and absolutely the best thing that ever could happen to me in my life. It absolutely just changed who I am as a person. It gave me a better perspective on life and how to treat people, and I think it was the best decision, so I absolutely enjoyed it. And it made me the man who I am today. So that's where one of my favorite things I've done in my life so far. So yeah, so I appreciate it. It was my deployment was amazing. It was tough and hard at the same time, and it was something I don't regret. So I absolutely enjoyed it. So
it's especially with the overall temperature of what's going on in the world, it's a really cool thing to hear and an awesome perspective to still have and be able to hold on to. It's pretty cool.
It's a very tough perspective on it, and given what's going on in the world, it did not change my mind on my choices, what I did in my life, and I don't regret it. So I still tell people every day, like, if you decide to go, it will change you for the best. So, and it did for me. So I appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate you coming and hanging out for a little while.
Thanks for the invite. Yeah, of course.
And giving us your point of view
awesome.
from the life that you've slowly learned from.
Mm-hmm.
So we always love having new faces in.
Okay.
And one thing I love, at least the same, if not a little bit more, is when we can call back to other episodes and other conversations we've had. But I mean, just hearing that much about your story. Mm-hmm. It's awesome, and it really already starts touching on stuff that we've hit home a lot on with our other episodes in terms of mindset and just being a person overall and overcoming different circumstances. But one thing that it really kind of draws us closer to, and it's a great segue into what we're going to be talking about today, is the if you guys saw the title of the episode, it's the human condition, and this is something that's going to turn into what we'd like to maybe consider a little bit more of a series, even though you guys know our structure isn't overly tight with how we hold the conversations. We like to start with an idea and kind of let the conversation grow of its own fruition. But the overall idea of this human condition series is we're going to really try and just tackle and break down some of these ideas, stuff that we all deal with, things that we all have to chew and swallow and digest on a daily basis. And with that comes one of the biggest ones, one of the hardest ones to conquer and overcome, fear, and what that looks like in its many forms and variations. So that's kind of where we wanted to go with this episode and what we wanted to dive into and get a little bit of the meat off the bone. But before that, there is one very sexy, smooth, buttery voice we have not heard a whole lot from today.
In a while.
Yeah, and I'm very curious just to hear what he's been up to, if he can even tell us, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, where he's been the last couple weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know either.
I'd love to hear a little bit just to say, hey, catch up with him. Chris, what's happening, baby?
I think we have a little bit of extra time.
Just a little, just a smidge. Just a smidge.
So the first week was very unsexy. It was a work thing. I'm in sales. I had to do a sales meeting, and it went horribly, but that's okay. Last week, though, I took the fam to one of the local-ish theme parks. We're in Florida here. So I went for my daughter's 9th birthday. Yep, she's obsessed with Harry Potter, so we wanted to take her to Hogwarts. So she loved that. We were
Happy
there
birthday, Al.
Happy birthday.
So we were there for about 4 or 5 days. But it's interesting. I've been in pretty much all of the theme parks here in Florida, and they're all gun-free zones. So some sacrifices.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
Compromises need to be made going
You
in
can't
there.
do a desk pop on It's a Small World?
You can get stuff in.
Yeah, you got.
If you're smart enough. But this time I was like, you know what? I don't want to get
Take a
weird.
chance, yeah.
Because it's my daughter's birthday, so that'd be really terrible.
Absolutely.
It'd be terrible either way. It would take the kids and then you get booted. But
So I got to ask the question.
Yeah.
If she went to Harvard, what is she? Is she a Gryffindor, Hufflepuff?
What faction is she?
What faction over there? What faction is she? Whatever.
so Ravenclaw.
She's a
Ravenclaw.
Ravenclaw. Because I remember she and there at the Harry Potter they do that. If you look in front of the fountain of water and you have the wand.
Yeah.
If you do your little, I don't know how to. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I have no kids, okay, but I have a lot of friends who have kids. And if you have this wand, you look in front of the water fountain, and it's like you do this little switch. I don't know, but the water supposed to turn on when you do this wand motion thing.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah, we camped that out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty cool actually. But you you go there, and then in Diagon Alley there's like the wand shop, and you go in. And there's a line to get into the wand shop, and it's like a whole experience. And then they choose a kid who's supposed to like reenact the whole Harry Potter scene where like the wand selects them and all this shit. And the wands have like a little RFID chip in them. So basically, there's all sorts of little areas all throughout the wizarding world or whatever where you wave your wand, and in front of this like infrared camera with RFID chip or whatever, it activates something.
Hold on.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yes.
You mean that shit's not magic?
No,
Man.
It's magic, okay? It's magic
I've
for
been duped.
The kids don't know any different. She'll turn on the water. I'm like, holy shit!
What did you do?
mind blown.
So, yeah, but okay. So we went there for 4 days, 3 of which I got in no problem. Now, mind you, I didn't smuggle anything against the rules in, though I've done that in the past. But this,
Shove that
You gotta say it out there. Yeah, sure
so
you
I
did.
was grabbing
Sure
my
you
feet.
did.
I was clean this time.
This time.
Yeah.
So, but normally anywhere I go where I can't have guns, I've got medical equipment, trauma medical equipment. Because I mean, you can take that shit anywhere, literally. It's not a weapon. You know what I mean? Airplanes, courthouse, doesn't matter. You know, scan me, bro.
No.
So we went in. We were doing my daughter's birthday dinner on our last night there, and we had reservations at 4:30. We're going through security at 4:10, and I throw this into the little buckets that you put your keys in and shit, so they can X-ray it. And then the guy held me up. He said, "Oh, dude, I don't know. I'm gonna have to check with my superior."
You guys can't tell on the camera.
Yeah, but it's
if
the
you
same.
want to flip it over, it's
a
plastic.
tourniquet.
There's no
Yeah.
metal on this thing either.
Yeah, it basically.
So it's not going to set anything off if you don't know what it is.
A Velcro strap
Right.
made out of, I don't want to say it's cloth, it's like nylon.
Yeah.
And then pieces of plastic for structure, and then what's called the windlass, which is made out of plastic as well. So literally, I mean, I could walk through a metal detector and nothing would go off, right? So the guy holds me up, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Let me check with my sergeant. I gotta make sure that this is okay. So this has happened to me sometimes before, and I don't sweat it too much because normally it results in the guy coming over and like, yeah, what the fuck is your problem? Let him in.
Yeah.
So
Provided they know what it is, right? When they hold it up and look at it.
Well, he knew what it was. He said,
Okay,
"Oh,
okay.
this is a tourniquet." You know?
okay.
So I'm like, "All right, cool.
Right.
We're on the same page here. I don't even know why this is a problem." Right? So
No, we kind of want you to bleed if you come in.
So several of the people manning the station, like one after the other, they're like, "Oh, we appreciate your patience. It'll take another minute. They're in a meeting, blah blah blah." And it was like one person after the other said that. I'm like, "All right, I got it." I'm like, "I'm cool," you know. So finally, the dude comes over, the sergeant or whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, man, sorry, we're not going to be able to let you in with that. You know, it goes against our policy." And I was like, "Dude, I've been here for like 4 fucking days, and it's never been a problem up until now." And I'm like, "I can take this on any airplane in the world, in any courthouse." And he's like, "Yeah, but you know what? This isn't an airplane; it's private property." Dude. My point is that TSA has stricter and higher security standards than your dumbass park. I'm going to go ahead and take this in because you don't let me have a gun, so I need to have a way to be able to address an emergency medical situation. And he says, "Well, we've got you know, people throughout the park with medical equipment and whatever." And I said, "I don't give a shit what you have. Because let me ask you this: what's the response time?
Yep.
You know, how long
what's your
does it
average
take?
response?
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
Because I've got 60 seconds
To a life-threatening
maybe
injury.
for something that this
Yeah.
would be effective on,
Absolutely. You're an hour into the line at Big Thunder Mountain. Guess what?
right? I'm
You're on your own.
Right. I'm
You're
in the
on your
ride. I'm
own,
hanging
buddy.
upside down. You know, like
You're
what
on
the
your
fuck are we
own.
gonna do now, you know. So he says, "Well, you know, listen, I'm trying to help you out, and if you're going to be combative with me," I said, "You're not helping anything out. I'm taking this in, okay? And if you don't like it, go ahead and go get the Orange County Sheriff and trespass me." About the time I said that, I'm just sick of these assholes.
Yeah, I could imagine.
I couldn't tell.
So the supervisor lady comes over. She's like in plain clothes, and she looks at it. She's like, "Yeah, I've got no problem. It's fine. Go ahead and let him in." And I said, "Okay, well, next time, can you go ahead and standardize this so that I'm not getting harangued in your security line for this? Are you fucking kidding me?"
Not only that, but in a life, somebody having a something like that, you know, in any situation where something could happen randomly, and you're the closest person that could save that person's life. There's, I mean, they think you're going to strangle somebody with it.
But
like,
what policy is you can't bring a tourniquet, a medical device to save someone's life? Like, what policy is that you can't do that? Like, I can't
Would they stop you from bringing gauze?
Yeah, like I want to say that you
Yeah,
you can't bring
a
gauze.
Band-Aid?
Can I bring a Band-Aid?
Well,
Some
here's-
Neosporin? Like,
Here's where it gets really fucking stupid. The dude's like, "Well, you can't have it by itself, but if it's in a medical kit, it's fine." I'm like, "You need me to go out to the car and get the fucking big boy?" Like, that's fine. But really, that's so trivial. Are you
I'll come in
serious?
with the whole
Honestly,
backpack.
At the point that all the semantical nonsense makes sense in their world, if you turn around, get a Ziploc baggie that you had as your dry bag for your cell phone, and go click, now it's a medical kit, dipshit, and walk the fuck in that place. What are you going to argue with me? It's a medical kit. Say something now. It doesn't matter that there's one thing in it. It's a kit.
The thing is that this, for the people that know what it is and what it's used for, elicits feelings, right? And that is the only purpose that you could have for this is to conceivably treat like a gunshot wound, right? And so
or a cut, a laceration,
Sure.
a huge laceration.
Yeah, sure. But that would never happen.
It
No,
never
never.
happened in a theme park. Something sharp and metal and
Yeah.
rusty.
but the question is,
Crazy.
for people who don't know what it is, what this is, what do they think this is? Like, what does he think this is a weapon, or do they think this
Strangle
is
device?
a strangle device? Like, even if you don't know what it is, you look at it and be like, "What?
Maybe-
It's made of
Maybe
plastic."
he's used it for autoerotica. I don't know.
I know, like, it's plastic. Like, it's not metal. It's not a knife. It's not sharp. It's something plastic. What is it? Oh, for tourniquet to stop bleeding. Oh, okay, cool. Go ahead.
I can tell you, I would not want that put on me. Because I know that if
it would
that has to
suck
go
ass.
on you,
It's terrible.
it's really painful.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, really painful.
My belt's a worse
Bleeding
weapon.
out, but yeah.
No, but
For sure. Absolutely.
My belt's a worse tourniquet and a better weapon. But
Yeah.
they don't care. Like,
No.
let it bring a belt in. It's fine.
Keys.
I'll say this right now. If I ever get to a point that I need this and somebody pulls this out, I will feel more at calm because somebody has this. That means somebody knows how to use it.
Yeah.
That means when you put this on, you let them know what time you did put it on. I will feel more at ease than anything else. I'm like, okay, he knows what he's doing. He knows his stuff. okay, I may survive this.
Yeah.
Okay, so he pulls this out. I think, me personally, I think I will survive. So it's awesome that if I find somebody with that.
I definitely would calm down.
I calm down a lot, being like, let me put a tourniquet on. Okay.
I mean, I laid on a mountain snowboarding for an hour with a broken collarbone when I was 10 years old, before ski patrol finally got to me, and it took 10 minutes for somebody to even stop, and it was just because they saw this little kid that was trying to stand up and just couldn't, and eventually. Of course, skiing. A doctor came over. My dad did the run 2 times and didn't think that I was the one on the ground, and then finally stopped. But yeah, I broke my collarbone and I was freaking out. And then as soon as this random person stopped in plain skiing clothes, was like, "I'm a doctor. What's going on?" I immediately calm down and relax and start telling him
what's going
on and what happened. And so I know that I have somebody there that's looking out for me and my best interest. And even though it wasn't my dad or whatever, some random stranger, but it was they had they knew what they were doing. They knew not to move me around, and they knew how to talk to the ski patrol. And it was quick, fast. Once he got there, it wasn't a lot of sitting around anymore. But I mean, I was freezing because I was sitting still on snowpack at night because it was night skiing when it happened. So I was frozen to the bone by the time I got in the toboggan to go down. Spent the rest of the trip in a hot tub. So
it beats a toboggan.
Ended up okay, I guess.
Hey, real quick before we get too far down the line, we got a couple comments in here in the chat I wanted to get back to and definitely acknowledge. Swinging Sticks, definitely agree with you on the sentiment. Thank you for your service, sir. Talking to Tony. Now that I'm in the chat, finally, we appreciate you, brother. His dad was a veteran too, and much respect to you. So.
And hey, Wes. Hey, Sake. How's everybody doing? Thank you guys again. My community always shows out in a big way for these podcasts, and everybody that generally from these guys. And so we appreciate you guys being interactive.
Absolutely.
Make sure and get your comments in there. If you can interject in any of our...
Talk to us. Talk to each other.
Yeah, we want
You can talk to the group. Talk to us individually, however you guys want. We're here to interact with you.
This is like group therapy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there was a really cool parallel that all you guys kind of touched on there, and it's really going to bring us back into our topic. Really fun. Really, really fun. I love that stuff. You guys all talked about in these different situations when you felt fear and when that fear got alleviated by experience, right? Somebody else presented themselves in the situation and their experience, whether it's a hypothetical situation of somebody knowing what that is and the experience that comes with them taking that out, or the experience of I'm a doctor and you instantly getting that feeling of calm, right?
Yeah.
And the different levels of that fear response that you had to deal with just trying to get from one area to another in a theme park, and what that actually represented and how they acted out, right? It's insane. And when you talk about experience, right, you had to get all the way to the top level of security before somebody knew enough about what that is to know it's not even close to being dangerous enough to even be talking about.
Right.
Just the way you told the story, I'm imagining the supervisor came over and basically looked at it like, what the hell are you bothering me with this for? Let him in and went on about her business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it goes to the lack of experience that everybody...
Sierra,
the princess is here. It goes to the lack of experience that everybody else has, right? So with that lack of experience, there's room for their fear response to kick in. And what happens? I don't know what that is. What did most people in this situation bring in? What does he catch? What's he trained to be doing? Contraband weapons, right?
Yep.
I don't know what that is. Automatically gets filed into contraband or weapons, right?
So what people don't know, do they automatically think is fear if they don't know what that certain item is?
A lot, not everybody, but I would say absolutely a lot of people fear the unknown.
Yeah, fear the unknown.
If we take a broader look at the picture,
They're
fear
also
the unknown.
They're also hypersensitive.
100%,
Like looking specifically for this shit.
They're at the gate, they're dialed in, they're rummaging through people's stuff, they're dealing with people that may or may not be combative all day long. They're in that element all day. I'm finding it, I'm finding it, I'm finding it. That's what they're doing.
And they might get bored after a while.
Yeah. What is that? What is
Hold on
that?
a second.
What is that? Blow dart?
So do you think it's society itself, as society itself as a country, just because of all of so much negative stuff that's going on in the world, they're a little more sensitive about certain things that they don't know what it is?
I think The fear response has a ton of layers.
Okay.
I think there's genetic layers. I think there's cultural layers. I think there's biological layers. I think there's subatomic layers. I think there's all kinds of different variables to answer that specifically. But I will say definitively, since the advent and adoption of the public forum becoming social media, and now the last year and a half, 2 years that we've kind of been through and we don't have to get into specifics on that, but the fear, I think, was the biggest thing that we all kind of got out of what was being pressed. I think that it's more heightened now than ever before. I don't know that it's new, but I definitely think it's more.
No, I agree with that.
I think it's thicker now.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So that human condition that we kind of touched on at the beginning of the show was. It's to imply that it affects everybody. You know what I mean? That fear response, and we kind of already talked about one of the ways to alleviate it incidentally here, but experience, right? Knowledge is a really good way to alleviate that fear response. But you said it yourself, just in inquiry.
Yeah. It's
something that we kind of inherently come across, right? The fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
The person that we've never seen or met before. What are their intentions? Like, it's one thing to be apprehensive, but it's another thing to be fearful, right?
Way different.
And where is the balance to getting into that spot where we're comfortable enough in our knowledge of the self, maybe, or our surroundings, to, interact in these situations without that fear response being our automatic response?
Yep, that reminds me of a quote that's popular in my realm with like guns and concealed carry and shit, and that's a lot of people will get mad, or not mad, but kind of bent out of shape when they first start carrying a gun. They're like, "This is uncomfortable." Like, yeah, dude, it's a 2-pound piece of metal you're sticking to your body. But the thing is, like people say, is carrying a gun's not supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to be comforting. And
right.
I think that's true. You do have a sense of maybe not comfort, but you're like, I'm prepared for something, not everything, but I'm a heck of a lot more prepared than I was before.
So when it comes to, and maybe this is me when it comes to, because I have my concealed also, and I do also carry, but when I carry inside certain places, I'm always conscientious of make sure that it's not showing, like if I lift up my shirt, if I'm picking up something, like the gun is showing.
Right.
And then if we get somebody who's in a store who don't understand it, and they call the cops, oh, there's a man with a gun inside a store, that's the only thing I have to say. And not only there's a man inside a store, there is a black man inside a store, and obviously it heightens it up, in my opinion. So, and of course, and I'm not, either or, I'm not saying the cops will come in there and be all nice and polite and being like, hey, sorry, let me see your gun.
It's a situation that can be avoided.
Exactly.
And should be avoided.
It should be avoided.
Yeah,
but that's the thing about fear. Like people
Absolutely.
don't know about it. And then once you add something on top of that fear, when it comes to not only does he have a gun, and then you're gonna bring race into it, whatever. And it don't have to be black. It can be somebody who's from like an Arab nation or something.
Anything.
Yeah, it can be anybody. Somebody they're not understanding or comfortable about, and it heightens it up. And that's something you got to be more. That's me. I get more cautious about that.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's not showing out so easily or whatever.
When you got to think of the person that potentially is making that phone call.
Yeah, exactly.
They're fearful of what they don't know, so they're trying to plug the shit in. They're like, gun, black guy, this, that, and the other thing, and turning something into something that's not.
Let's take that. Let's take that way back, because their assumption from the rip.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter whether they saw anything. They prejudged that situation
Right,
from the rip. It didn't matter how nice you were. It didn't matter what kind of a person you were.
You could be in a suit.
It doesn't
Right.
matter what your character is. In fact, I think if you were in a suit and had a concealed gun, they'd be more worried about you being in the mafia or something. So
Well, that's an interesting thing to think about, though. Where do these preconceptions come from, right?
movies.
Hollywood.
I know a lot of Hollywood.
Move social media.
External sources, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's outside influences.
Yeah.
But sometimes people have trauma, right? They have
Yeah.
I got you,
experiences in their history that shape them at the same time. And we talked about this a little bit last week, right? Not becoming the role, but assuming the role when necessary and becoming the self. if I can detach from the story, I don't have to bring that with me into the interaction
No.
as much, hopefully. Like, that's the goal, right? It's
Yeah.
in a perfect world. But we have to account for that, too, because we don't know that person's story.
Yeah.
Now, you and me could easily say, hey, I'm a fucking black guy, and I got a fucking gun, and they're giving me a hard time about it.
Yeah.
I'm not justifying it anyway, but just, again, two sides to every coin. Maybe that particular instance, that specific person was assaulted by a dude wearing a hood, and she never got to see their face or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
It's a flashback for them.
But at the same time, what if it's just some fucking racist prick that, you don't know is the point. That's the point. You don't know.
It
So,
could be anyone.
like you said before, I think the best thing we can do is act with common sense and rationality and not put ourselves into these situations where we know a fear response can be easily leapt to without gathering a lot of information, right?
And so somebody making that phone call will embellish the shit out of it.
Oh, it definitely will.
Because
Oh my God, he's got a gun! Meanwhile, I'm wearing fucking joggers and no underwear. It's a fucking rifle!
and it may be like she may have misread the situation,
Yeah.
but she has to justify her reason for making the phone call. Because
Of course.
otherwise, if you just say, "Okay, black man with a gun," anything else?
Anything else?
Or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If she can't be unreasonable, I'm not saying she like a Karen, right?
No, okay. I
So
mean-
now I'm fucking shitting, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No,
But,
for sure.
but it's hard on the both sides because I see on what I said, and I also see on the other side when it comes to law enforcement because they can only react on what they hear.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if you're on a phone call and this lady is hysterical and saying, hey, there was a black man, a man, whatever, with a gun, and she's all scared, whatever, of course they're going to come in gun blazing and like,
They're going
ready
to come
go.
in a heightened sense
of course.
of anxiety.
Yeah.
And they're playing the telephone game anyway.
They're playing the telephone game.
Boom. By the time he
Oh,
gets
yeah.
to he's like, okay,
Obviously,
man
yeah.
with a gun.
Yeah,
Sure.
at like a Target or a Walmart or whatever. It's like, of course they're going to come in with a bunch of cop cars.
And let's be fair, the way that, and this is probably an entirely different conversation in itself, the way that particular system is structured, as just in the fact that we're using it as an example with law enforcement.
Yeah.
Law enforcement is incentivized to bag perps and get people off the street.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
there's legitimate, and people, I know they hate the word, but quota system.
Yep.
Like
There's something there.
we'll call it whatever you want. They're incentivized to close cases, to get guys off the street, to shut the book and go on to the next one. They're not incentivized to really get into it and figure out if the guy that some of the stuff might be pointing to because he was in the area is really the guy. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Or maybe 10 years later, dude gets exonerated. Does that go on the arresting officer's record?
No.
No.
It doesn't go
So
anywhere.
there's different incentives at play there that I think maybe add to that as well.
Yep.
That make that a really weird gray area. And I think that again, it's like we talked about before, everything kind of being both sides. You probably could find examples of both.
Both sides, yeah.
In
Of
normal
course.
situations, right, where you've got cops that go through the training and they're trained to profile people.
Right.
Period. They're
Right.
trained to profile people.
Well-
And when they act on said training, it can get them in some hot water sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
Because they're trained to profile people. Is that the cop's fault? Is that the training? Is that the municipality? Like, there's a lot of
The liability in the other direction is so harsh that it's like they have to almost go 100% in the other direction because if they let the bad guy go,
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, well, why didn't you know? So,
Well, not
but
see.
still.
Different people would have different responses to that, and we've I think
Yeah.
brought that up in a previous show before, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember the phrasing of it, but sacrifice one innocent person so that
Yeah.
100 guilty people don't get away versus sacrificing. However that
One
was. I
guilty
messed it up.
person
One
so that
guilty
100
person.
innocent people get away.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
So,
there's
you
this-
know.
There's this
No,
is
you're
one
good.
thing which I don't know is true. I think it is that someone told me that it is longer to be a you got to go to school longer to be a hairdresser than you got to be a cop.
Yeah.
It might be.
And
It might
yeah,
be
and
a few
I'm
other
thinking,
things. It might
yeah, and I find that kind of like,
Yeah.
huh?
We're gonna close this door.
And I don't want to get like nuts into beating up on law enforcement.
Oh, of course not. No.
But
on the other side.
part of those of you that don't know, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Part of what we do at Ethereal, and you guys hopefully you'll check us out. We've got a YouTube as well. It's ethereal.llc. Check us out. See some of our training videos and some of our other stuff. But this is part of the stuff that we focus on. Most municipalities, law enforcement, are required less than 20 hours of continued education or marksmanship training,
Yep.
most of which have zero physical requirements for actual range time, weapon training, combatives training, zero after their initial requirements are met.
Yep.
So you'll have people that are on the force 15, 20 years that aren't keeping up with their physical requirements, that never learned how to use their gun, maybe have never had to use their weapon. 20 years on the force, everybody assumes they're a decorated veteran, blah, 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 and they get into a scuffle over a traffic ticket, and they're scared. The fear response comes up because the experience is not there.
Yeah,
right.
I can.
They went through the motions, but the experience isn't there. Go ahead.
I can tell you, they are a complete asshole when it comes to shooting guns. Like, they're terrible on average, and more than on average. But a lot of them they're not gun guys. Like, they just got into the profession, and for whatever reason, it calls to them. And quite frankly, I think you'd find that, like, the proportion of their job that requires them to use their gun is so small.
Sure.
It is very small, yeah.
But
I genuinely believe a lot of police officers get into it initially to help people, not to be
Oh, no, of course. Of course.
But a lot of agencies just have miserable standards, and you could be a good cop and still be terrible at shooting a gun. And I think a lot of agencies understand that, and they set the bar really low. I remember going on a ride along with a local agency here, and the guy was just a complete maniac. He was just acting very unprofessionally, but it was funny. But I have a sixth sense of humor.
Yeah.
But so he takes me to his mother-in-law's house for one reason or the other, pick something up. And this is how bad they are with the discipline with guns, at least in this case. So this guy stepped in dog poop in his mother-in-law's yard. And so he gets into the side of the cruiser as he's coming back in. He takes his gun out that has a weapon light on it, and then uses the weapon light to point at his shoe to start cleaning it up. And I was just like, but yeah, it really do be like that with some of those guys. Like, they just...
And I'll say this right now, like, and I never want to bash any law enforcement or anything like that. I use this because this is something I learned in the military. It takes one person to ruin it for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes with everything. All right, you can have the amazing company.
That since we were kids.
I know you have the amazing company, amazing platoon.
One of y'all.
Even the basic training when I was in. Okay, we were amazing, but it takes one guy to ruin it for all.
The dude with the donut in his
Yeah,
foot
oh
locker.
man, the Private Pals. Okay, ever seen Full Metal Jacket?
Oh, yeah.
All right, and every basic training. And
Somebody got soaked.
So yeah, we didn't get soaked. We didn't do a red face. We didn't get soaked. Came close to it. But and anybody who ever been to basic training and whoever's been in the military, you guys can understand this, okay? There's always one guy in your whole company, your basic training, that he can't get right. We call him can't get right, and it ruins it for everybody. And it goes with life. So like, with law enforcement, there's always one or some guys in there, and that's all people see. They don't see the good cops. And there's tons of good cops out there, and I met a lot of them. But there's always that one that just takes it.
There's the allegory. It's been kicked around on social media a lot more recently. And I'm sure you guys may have seen it, but it's the math teacher who's in front of her class writing out multiplication tables.
Right.
Yeah.
She starts with 9 times 0, 9 times 1, all the way to 9 times 9 and writes everything out correctly. But that initial problem, the 9 times 0 equation, the answer was incorrect. Everything else was right. And the students in the classroom started, oh, you got it wrong, blah, blah, blah. And she let everybody kind of calm down and address the classroom and said, I did that on purpose. This is an example. Out of 10 times, you could get 9 things exactly correct, and people will want to point out the one that you got wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's an important thing to remember, right? People look for that weakness to try to identify and latch onto to knock you down a peg. But again, I think it all kind of comes back from that same place, that fear, right?
Yep.
The fear of other, the fear of being less than, maybe.
The fear to get judged by it.
The fear of being judged harshly.
Yep.
Which usually you're always being judged. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You're always being judged in some way, shape, or form or another.
That's true.
It's inevitable. All the way down to your best friends and family. I mean, to the closest to even judge you sometimes in your actions whether or not it's intentional.
I'm judging
or
you
not.
right now.
Exactly.
I judge you for the certain things I've known you throughout the years of stuff that you did, but we're not going to bring that up. I know we're not going to bring that up.
No, I talk about all that stupid
girl
stuff
dad expose.
on my gaming page.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to bring it up. Don't worry about it.
You'll have to. What we'll do is I'll put you on the mouse and keyboard for some Call of Duty, and then we'll have that conversation.
If you guys only knew, okay?
So that everybody could talk shit about how bad you were while you talk shit about me.
You gotta balance it out.
You got to balance it out.
You gotta balance it out.
You sniped me. Well, you were going to snipe me? Okay. This is what James did 10 years ago.
Always looking to find that balance.
Yeah, exactly.
Justin.
Yeah, for sure.
Fear response can be the difference between death and living as well. When you're fearful, you say more stuff to blow it out of the water. When you're calm, then things can be more accurate. That's part of 911 caller training is to be calm for the other person on the other side of the phone, so that you can get as much information out of them as possible. Angst does not provide good information.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that fear response exists, though, is to help us save our own lives. And it used to be really relevant when, we were crouched around a fire in the wilderness and we couldn't quite see what was beyond it. There's wolves and shit. Now we got wolves in our house.
Yeah, that twig breaking might have been a fucking predator coming to get that ass.
But now, like, we live in largely such a safe society, statistically speaking, that I feel like fear is now weaponized against us in a way that speaks to our evolution, but is just, it's way over pushed now by people that want to control us.
Fifth generational warfare, dude. Yeah. It's propaganda. It's the propaganda machine. It's the propaganda machine.
We're way back, though. I mean, fear has been used to govern.
No, I'm talking specifically about propaganda. That's what fifth generational warfare is. It's the mass use of propaganda.
Okay.
That's the manipulation of fear that you're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. It's the mass use of, we're not having to go through that from a natural stimulus point, right? Maybe that thing that feeds us to continue to strive, right? Like, if anybody listens to Rogan, you guys always hear him talk about putting himself through hard shit. Jordan Peterson talks about lifting heavy things.
Yeah.
And purposely introducing stress into your life, right? Mm-hmm. So that you can grow. A lot of people have a lack of that because their normal life is, I walk to the fridge, my shit's there, my Hot Pockets are ready, I got what I need. Like, I don't have that. I want for nothing, I need for nothing. The hardest part of my day is finding ways to stimulate the mind, right?
Yeah.
For a lot of people. So maybe, and I'm just spitballing, right? We're just having a conversation here. Maybe that lack on the one side makes that propaganda so much more effective, right? Because we're not getting it in the physical world, we're plugging into it in the digital realm, right?
Yeah, we're more susceptible for it, and we're hungry for it too.
We're looking for it. We're seeking it out.
So is fear, would you guys say, is fear a generic thing? Like, there's no levels of fears, or there's when I think of fear, because when I'm like traveling so much, I think of fear. I have like a whole new perspective when it comes to fear. I think of fear as like the war between Azerbaijan and Armenia, of getting bombs dropped on you while you're just sitting in your home and stuff like that, or fear between the Arab states and Israel. Those are kind of, once I hear those kind of fears of how, or even Afghanistan, walking, or
you've been traveling the world in these other countries for the last
so when
2
I hear
years.
Even Afghanistan, you can't even walk down the street without even trying to get blown up.
Yeah.
Or living in Haiti, that you have a president killed, you got hurricanes, and you have an earthquake all in 1 year.
Yeah.
If I could put like a real quick little frame on that, it's so powerful to hear. So, as a veteran, you're saying that when you hear the word fear, the context that comes to your mind is hot war, physical violence.
Hot war, physical violence.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And to think about, I apologize for interrupting.
No, you're fine.
To think about like the types of privilege that we all live with, right? That when he hears fear, that's the first thing that comes in his head. But I could go, and I love my little girl. I'm not using her as a negative example.
No.
She's beautifully blessed, right? But if I asked her what fear meant, that question would elicit an entirely different response, right? My phone dies before I finish this episode of Slime, whatever the hell. Like, seriously, like, that's insane. Just to put, it blew me away. I'm sorry.
No. So when I hear people, and I'm not going to bring up politics or anything like that, whatever.
No. This is an open space.
No.
He's like, yeah, do it.
The point is, this is an open space.
I'm not going to bring it up, okay? I am not going to.
He's got his Biden time.
I'm not going to bring it up, okay? It's when I think of fear, and when it comes to here in the U.S., okay, yes, I think the U.S. we have our flaws, we have our difficulties, whatever. But I have friends who are being like, I don't know how my daughters are going to be raised in this country, whatever, what's going on in the world, whatever. And I'm thinking, like, okay, let me ask you a question. Like, the first thing I asked was, like, have you traveled? Like, have you traveled to different countries? They were like, well, I've been to Puerto Rico. No. Okay, no.
And outside of that, I've never left my town.
Yeah.
I went to high school here. My family went to high school here.
I'm like, no, that doesn't count, okay? Yeah. I have been to countries that if you talk bad about any political officials, you get your head chopped off or your hand chopped off.
Yeah.
Okay? There's no freedom of speech in certain countries at all. Like, I have been to countries that there's no 24-hour electricity, there's no running water, okay?
Yeah,
like,
you've been in some places.
Like, I have been to some crazy dangerous places or whatever, or places that if you're a female, you can't drive or you can't go to school or stuff like that. That's why I think about fear. And I think as a country, yes, I think we have some growing pains, as I would try to say it politically, whatever.
Yeah.
We have some growing pains. But honestly, there are still people around the world that would literally have died trying to get here. I've met people from Palestine, Syria, Georgia, all over the world, and they would love to come here. Because I think still, and this is, again, guys, this is just my opinion, I think we are an amazing country. We have our flaws, and people are doing whatever they can to get here to America. When I go to a bar or a restaurant in all the countries I've been to, and they ask me, oh, where you from? They was like, I'm from the U.S. They was like, I want to go. Like, I've been trying for 10 years. I've been trying for 5 years. I've been trying for 15 years to get to this country. I'm like, keep on trying. Like, keep on doing it. That's how other people see America right now. So I think we are an amazing country, and I look at fear differently because I've seen fear on a different level than what most normal people have seen. That's why I am very humble to where I'm at and to grow up in this country. That's all I wanted to say right there.
Listen, Tony, you hit on pretty much 100% of the points of what the world is.
Yeah.
And what the United States is to some people in the world versus others.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously some people don't want to come here other than to hurt us.
Of course.
And some people want to come here to make a better life. And I want all those people to come here and to have, a path to doing things properly and natural citizenship.
Doing the right way.
And doing it the right way.
Of course.
I want all that. I definitely don't want all the other things that come along with the other side of it. Because I'm worried that what worries me is that, and you see it happening down on a level, especially in our political system with the two-sided political system.
Mm-hmm.
Someone doesn't like the things necessarily that are going on in California, but they still hold those beliefs true in their heart, and then they move to somewhere else that doesn't have those same core values, and then they bring that BS with them, and they don't consider the fact of why they left in the first place. Yeah. They don't. That doesn't matter to them. They're so entrenched and deeply seated to their thought. Yeah. Whether it's right or wrong, there's no right or wrong.
That's wrong.
Subjectively, I would say it was wrong, but objectively and in people's heads, you know, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on their opinions, because, you know, everybody has opinions and they're all assholes.
The problem is when they leverage the power of the government to force you to do what they want you to do. People are gonna have their opinions all day long, but when they say you're gonna do this shit, that's where
it's called tyranny.
Well, it's fear. It's governing through fear. And
it's those people's individual fears, collectively putting somebody into office to allay those fears. Make this shit go away so I feel better, therefore you need to make these people do X or whatever, you know?
Yeah, and I'm actually, I don't know, government has been a hard spot for me, whether it's government or religion, just a hierarchy of command.
Mainly government.
Mainly government.
Mainly government.
But religion was a form of government. Originally, in my view, a religion was, beliefs and faith, for me, are separate from a religion. Just for me.
I feel like the state is the new religion. State is
that's
a substitution.
It's the beliefs. Cases. They believe those things, and then that turns into a religion, and
it's
forcing those on others.
Served as the backbone for what you would call culture and commerce. Honestly, like it always has, and now, like you said, it's gone from religion, like the traditionally Christian ideals that our country was founded on. Whether or not you believe in them doesn't really matter. It's all over the paperwork, right? In God we trust. It's written on there.
Yeah,
and we're not
a secret.
Not debating any of that. Yeah, it's there. But like you said, it's gone from the idea of God to replacing that very slightly with the state. Yeah. So in the state we trust. In the state, hey, I need this. Instead of I'm a person who produces, I have to go ask the state for it, which implies that the state holds the resources.
Yeah. Like, I think a lot of people need, or not a lot, let me rewind. I think a minority of people need to be governed. There's there's a subset of people in any culture where it's like, these people are wild as fuck.
You gotta quote Loki if you're gonna say it.
Yeah.
You gotta quote Loki if you're gonna say it. You crave subjugation.
You know what? Actually,
an ant has no quarrel with the boot.
But now, I beg to differ on that, though. And I will only beg to differ on that, saying is that next time you go to step on something, see if it tries to run away. Because I will guarantee you that even down to such a small, tiny thing as an ant, it still has a life preservation instinct to it. Life preservation, not just
fight or flight.
Yeah, fight or flight. But obviously they can't fight a boot, so they run. But I guarantee you try to step on an ant. If it sees your shadow, it's going to try and turn and go the other direction. Like, it's just I'm just saying, you could try it.
Yeah. If you force it hard enough, it'll bite you. The rat will try to run away at first.
Guaranteed.
But if you put it in the corner, there you go.
We don't know Fast and the Furious, whatever, the Miami one with him and Tyrell.
The rat?
The blowtorch, whatever.
That was bad.
I just thought it out right there.
What I was going to say, some people need to be governed because some people are just insane, right? But then many more people want to be governed because that relieves some of the anxiety. They don't know how to make decisions. They need somebody to tell them how to do it.
Think about this. You've got, and I'm talking even post 9/11, okay? Because that was 2001.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking. I'm specifically talking about voting age people right now.
What was it?
I said post 9/11.
Yeah.
Right. Specifically voting age people.
Yeah.
You've got an entire generation. I'm not sure how old you are, but I'm assuming we're all somewhat close in age.
We're all in our 30s.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're all in our mid-30s.
Entire generation younger than us that are voting age now.
Yeah.
To kind of to your point, right?
Oof.
that came up post 9/11, that weren't there for, didn't
Don't know
necessarily
anything
see
about
it,
it.
but grew up post 9/11,
I don't know.
and a lot of them. What were we all told? If you don't go to college, you're not going to be anything, right? You got to go to college. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. How many of them ate the pill? A lot of them went to college, right? Immediately, so they're out of mommy and daddy's house who took care of them, right? Because it was booming. The 80s were great. The 90s were pretty decent. Like everybody was doing. Oh, not everybody. Mostly everybody. The country as a whole was doing all right. Listen, I'm an 85 kid.
I'm an 85 kid too. I love it.
I'm 86. So.
My childhood was awesome.
Yep.
Okay? Dad worked a lot, but childhood was great. A lot of these kids came up in that cush, safe environment, right? Never seeing the real world, like you talked about, never knowing what real fear or real lack actually feels like. They go immediately out of high school and mommy and daddy's nest right into the university system. Some of which go from there into maybe a tech job or some other high-paying job, hopefully.
And then it depends on what university
if they
system
don't
you go
incur
to.
debt, right? If they don't incur debt, they may end up in the job that they trained for. If they don't, tack on $250,000 worth of debt and get a $40,000 a year job. But what if they stay in school, right? Now, look at it. All of our academia, this entire generation of people that decided they were going to stay in, the ones that are 5 years younger than us, that got their
PhDs.
masters, that are teaching, that are teachers' assistants, that are associates, never been out of the education system. Never had a day of real-world experience. Never met somebody that wasn't from their hometown or the university that they go to or live in. And these are people that are influencing other minds, right? So when you add all this together, now it becomes, again, with the propaganda and the social media and all this other stuff that you guys are talking about, it becomes a lot easier to see maybe where that collective fear response kind of comes from.
That's true.
You've got almost a generation and a half of our academics, right?
All right,
The
so
science.
What year were you born, Chris? 85, 85?
88.
88, 86. All right. Do any of you remember where you were when 9/11 happened? Do you remember?
Sophomore year. It was sophomore year.
Absolutely.
Sophomore year.
No, wait, what?
Sophomore year.
We were
Sophomore.
born in 85.
85.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sophomore year.
You gonna tell them no?
I know. I was like, hold on.
That shit didn't happen.
That's not your birthday. I'm like, whoa. I was like, hold on a second.
I thought it was, no, I'm just talking about what I don't remember freshman year or not, but I would have been freshman year.
What were you doing back in your freshman years?
Playing
Yeah,
Start smoking. No, I was doing nothing other than I was actually straight laced in my freshman year.
Cheeto finger under the bleachers.
Under the
The
bleachers.
sophomore years were definitely the slippery slope down, but
Yeah, I was sophomore year, and I remember going in between classes, and I remember somebody told me, like, oh, a plane went into the World Trade Center, and I'm like,
so you were already at school.
I was already at school when I found out.
I was sitting at Rudy's Sports Bar with my friend Sean and his mom at a high top table, circular. And
bar?
it came on.
You were drinking that young?
Yeah, I was fucking
Hammered.
Rudy's Sports Bar is a fun spot.
I know
right where it is.
I went to Pinellas
Go
Park
there
High.
all the time.
I went to Pinellas Park High. We were at Rudy's, and I saw it on the screen as we were sitting at a high top.
Now, this was in the morning or in the evening? Like, this was after everything happened?
This is right after school, probably.
So after everything happened.
Oh, yeah, I saw it in the morning.
All right, so where were you?
Middle school.
You were in the school. All right, so I'm the only one that has this crazy memory, and what's crazy about it for me is that the movie 12 Strong.
Yeah, awesome movie, by the way.
Awesome movie.
Get the whiskey.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Get the
one of the
whiskey.
best movies. But so for me, my memory of 9/11 was literally the exact same as that little girl in that movie. I was getting ready for school, sitting on the couch and watching TV, and parents were getting ready for work and doing their own thing, and I watch it happen. Watch the first one, or watch the second one happen. I think it was the second one, it was actually the first one. It was the first one that I watched happen. The second one happened while I was at school because we still had to go to school, and but I literally the scene from that movie. Not the moving and everything, but me at a young age, sitting in front of the TV, getting ready for school, and the news being on, and watching literally watching the plane come in, was absolutely it was insane. In my head, it was insane. Like it'll never nothing. But it literally was to T. My experience was to the T, the same as that little girl in 12 Strong for that date.
Rewatching some of the like documentaries that they made, like on the History Channel now, like they come out every 9/11. Watching that shit now, it still feels so surreal. Like that's fear watching it. Because the first one was like, oh, that's weird, and then the second one, and then the Pentagon.
Yeah.
And then
it just spiraled
like, whoa,
through the whole through the whole morning.
It sucks that something that bad or that amount of fear has to bring the country together. Because and let me know if I'm wrong, that I had never seen a country together together.
In our lifetime.
Yeah, in our lifetime when that happened. And that's when it was like, I don't care what color you are, I don't care what religion you are, or whatever. But I'm like, we're all Americans, and we're gonna get through this.
That's World War II. The last time I would say that was World War II.
We're gonna get through this.
We had a common enemy.
Yeah. It's always a common. It comes down to a common enemy.
Because I don't have enough time to hate you if I'm busy hating that.
That is true.
And we hated those people. Like at that time, it was like we're calling for blood.
Yeah.
Justin was in shop class, and we were told to stay in shop all day, and buses were being called back to pick us up. I watched the news in school, and when I got home, I think all of us in that mid-'80s generation, we just have a whole different view. And I don't know. I'm disappointed in the world for forcing that view upon us. But, we're always going to second guess somebody that may look different from us that is from an area like that because of such.
But that's for people who have not seen the world.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going to introduce. So I used to be that way, but now that I've seen it, and I literally have friends who are from there, are from Afghanistan, Iraq, Palestine, like all over
Turkey.
the world. Turkey, all the Muslim country. And we all get together, and they see it, they understand it, but
the rational ones.
The rational one, but there's also irrational ones. But
just like irrational.
But I don't look at that no more, and a lot of people are going to feel still to this day feel afraid if you're on a plane and you see somebody in a hijab or whatever, and they're going to feel nervous.
That's never going to go away.
Yeah,
I don't care. There's not trying to be profiling or racist or anything like that, but. I don't know. I watched something happen that is always going to stick in my head for the rest of my life.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
So how much of that do you think... Well, let's take another step back. Biologically, then. Mm-hmm. Do you think the lack of need for that survivalist mentality is, again, kind of spilling over into this? Meaning... beforehand, the reason biologically for that response, if this guy approaches my camp and doesn't look anything like my people, the immediate response was it could be danger, right? Mm-hmm. When this territorial back and forth thing was happening, when the need to fight for resources was a real thing, I think that's part of why we developed that response biologically.
Yep.
Societally, the creation of society, tools, engineering, mass production have lessened or alleviated the need for that. Is that kind of being used or maybe manipulated or even weaponized against us at this point? Because we don't inherently, like you said, the 9/12, we've shown we've got the capacity. Mm-hmm. We can do it. Everybody can look at each other and fucking let's go.
Let's go. Exactly.
Let's do it together, right? It's there. The capacity's there. But shortly, maybe 5 years, 10 years after that, once other things started kind of getting in motion and other agendas were at work, I think we've said the phrase before, never let a good tragedy go to waste, right?
Yeah.
Once other agendas started unfolding, I think that the disillusion of the we is kind of what got us to where we're at. It's no longer we can do this together. It's I can do this. What the fuck are you up to over there, Buster? You know what I'm saying?
Where is the medium ground? Like, where is like the halfway point? That I don't want something tragic to happen for us to come together. It shouldn't have to be that way. I think we should just do it. in a perfect world, of course,
Something tragic has happened. Look at all the businesses that are closed. I mean, like, look at the economies worldwide.
yeah, but we're still so
That's diffused.
Yeah.
It's
Not
like
only
that-
that, it's also polarized.
like
Super ultra polarized.
when you saw people jump out of the buildings, that was like,
That's real.
Oh, that shit's real. When
Yeah.
people are dying in hospitals from
Yeah.
it's like, okay, yeah.
I'm not
but-
talking about death. That's why I didn't mention people dying.
Yeah.
I'm talking about economic loss.
Economically,
Businesses.
why doesn't everybody want to come together to
Support small
reinvigorate
businesses.
economically our country in a meaningful way for everybody? And
Quit shopping on Amazon.
it's impossible.
I'm talking about
That is
in
impossible.
general,
It's
right?
impossible.
We all do it. We've
Yeah,
gotten
yeah.
more comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, and talking about loss and coming together and all that stuff. And I hijacked you again. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
But again, we've had something significant happen. You have seen the single in the last 2 years, both the largest printing ever of any incremental amount of money ever.
Well, money's
And the
money,
largest
though.
amount of fucking spending ever. The
Wait,
point
what?
is, it's not real.
No.
All of this crap means what? It means really nothing, honestly, at the end of the road. But it's just another way of manipulating and playing the game. You know what I mean?
So do you think that, like, when you brought up Amazon, okay, when you talk about supporting small businesses, I think online sales, online internet has skyrocketed during this crazy time that we're in. Now, and I don't know this, I'm asking you, when you order like food or clothes or anything like that, do you think they're going to the small business at first, or do you think it's already shops that's already in Amazon or whatever? Like if you order like a shirt or something, being like, okay, I want this shirt, and the only person that has this shirt is a small business in like Pennsylvania or something.
Yeah, that's not how it works on Amazon. No, anybody can make a store selling anything.
Yeah.
You can take somebody else's product and sell it on Amazon or eBay for a couple of dollars more and advertise in front of that other person's product.
So is Amazon buying that product from that small businesses?
No. This is third party.
Okay.
This is all third party stuff. Amazon is 90% third party.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can put your own shit on there, like an eBay kind of deal.
And it's literally you can go and buy all the hot stuff that's really cheap on Wish.com and then put it on Amazon for $10 more, and people still buy it because
look at graphics cards.
graphics cards are a whole different. We can get into that conversation, but I'll leave that for Linus Tech Tips, who's absolutely well versed in that world. But yeah, no, it's different though. It's on a different level, in my opinion.
Sure thing that, Jay, like we were saying, right now is a tragedy, and it is. But I'm reminded of a quote from Joseph Stalin. A single death is a tragedy, but a million is just a statistic.
Absolutely.
So this tragedy, such as it is diffused such that you can remove yourself and not feel it. Whereas something like 9/11 was visceral, but also it gave us a singular enemy for us to focus our energy on. There is no enemy except for the virus, right? But now there's things to combat that, and you see the focus on those things. So, like,
I would argue that removal of self is entirely voluntary, though, because
yeah,
being in Pinellas Park, Florida, a 15, 16-year-old kid, 9/11, yeah, it was visceral. It ripped me apart. But let's be honest, 3 months later, unless it came up on the news, was it the first thing in my mind when I woke up in the morning? No, I had the luxury of being far enough removed from
Right.
it that it didn't affect my day-to-day, right?
We quickly forget things.
Absolutely. Out of sight, out of mind. So,
but that's the only way you can move on, though. Really,
Absolutely.
If you're crippled by this shit,
But
can't
do
function.
you move on when you continually memorialize that thing? Do you ever actually move on?
I think that's
No,
a
you
sentiment.
don't move on. Okay.
But but that sentiment will never go away.
No.
Like, will you ever actually move on? And then I think this is going to get into that. Do you ever move on if you idolize the things of the past? But we still need to learn from the
I
past.
think
in order
remembering
to,
and learning is different than anchoring yourself there. For sure.
So, as a person who has been to Afghanistan, you never move on, number one. Even when I went there the first time and I always think about it every single day. Because Afghanistan is a big part of my my life because it's something I represent in my country, and I represent my country to try to help other people. So now that I have not moved on from that, let's rewind it 20 years down the road, and all the people that we lost over there, and all of the mental and physical pain that we have suffered, that I've suffered, and millions of people have suffered, and come to find out that what happened now that they took it back over, I'm never going to forget it. I will never move on, no matter what age I'm at, because the physical pain is always going to be there with me, and the mental pain is always going to be with me, and it's always going to remind me of Afghanistan, of what I sacrificed, and sometimes, and again, if you're a military veteran that has been there before, I sometimes I feel like, okay, not what was the point, but what we all sacrificed over there, we are always going to remember that. So it's, as me as a person, I will never move on for that for the rest of my life.
I think that's the difference of like experiencing it firsthand versus like watching it on the TV. You know?
Yeah, on the TV you hear all the wars and the shooting, whatever, and you'll never hear about of almost shooting a kid.
Right.
You'll never hear about pulling.
You'll never hear about whether they did it or not either.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about just from my experiences that you'll never hear about that. You'll never hear about the pulling of a soldier out of the water who passed away.
Yeah.
You'll never hear about being on base and having rockets come over the base, and you don't know where it's going to hit. You have absolutely no idea where it's going to hit. It is like
the sirens are going off.
The sirens are going off.
Everybody's ducking for cover.
The CRAM is going off, and everybody, CRAM is like a machine gun that has like, I think it's like 100 rounds per second or something. It shoots the rockets out of the sky. And you just never know where it's going to hit. Even when you're laying down in the middle of the night, you hear the alarm go off. You're supposed to wake up and put your stuff on and get under the bunk or whatever. But
under the bunk?
Yeah. But think about, you've been working.
Tornado drill.
No, I know, but I mean, if a bomb hits your bunk.
Yeah, like you're supposed to, like you're in this tent, whatever, and a bomb and missiles going over the wall, and you just got done with an 18-hour shift in the military or whatever, an 18-hour shift. And then you're supposed to get up and put all your stuff on. Like, no, you're not doing that. Like, if it hits you, it hits you. Like, I'm tired. I'm tired. Like, at least I'm going to go. If I'm going to go, I'm going to go away in my sleep.
Yeah.
To be honest about it.
It is.
But those are kind of experiences that...
You actually told me a lot about, like, some of those.
And I even called you a few times when I was over there.
You called me quite a few times while you were over there.
So those are the experiences that I'm always going to remember for the rest of my life, that I'm never going to forget. That's always going to be part of my life.
Yeah, but you also told me, though, real quick, that... like towards the end of it, I would say the second half of it, you didn't even fucking duck for cover anymore.
Nah.
You just kept walking down the damn street.
To a point, it's just like and I remember, and it's just gonna be sad, all right? So
I'm just
not
saying.
sad, but it's sad and funny, whatever at the same time. Like, anybody who's been to Afghanistan, I've been to Kandahar, and every Wednesday is Wing Wednesdays. So, and I remember going there, and they put the to-go food and the Wings Wednesdays. Yes, I know, just blame me the wings.
I like wings. What are you talking about, man?
He started smiling. Yeah, I saw that smile in his face.
I don't know. What about
and I remember just sitting there with, and I remember just had a plate full of wings. I'm going back to my barracks, whatever, and an alarm goes off, and you're supposed to run and whatever. And I just got done with like an 18-hour shift, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like looking up and like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. Not today. And you're supposed to get down, and I got down all slowly. I literally took my time too to get down. Yeah, I put the plate on the dirt, and I'm sitting there just
eat my wings.
Eat my wings. So if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out eating wings. Okay. like F it. Like,
You're taking this away from me, motherfucker.
Hey, it's kind of hard with styrofoam wings. It's like cheap styrofoam that's going to break apart. I'm hungry, okay? I got the wings and I got the Frosted Flakes and Cheerios on my side pocket too.
I gotta go out.
Yeah,
getting this bristle.
Anybody who knows, like Frosted Flakes, Cheerios, Fruity Pebbles, those are all good cereals that always goes away. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
but like for what you were talking about, T, and what you brought up.
Yeah,
I think there's a huge difference in the resolve that you gained from your experience versus it becoming an anchor and keeping you there mentally and psychologically. The fact that you can come on here now, share that experience with us from a point of perspective to hopefully help other people see things maybe from a different point of view that they might not normally get.
No.
Living in their normal 9 to 5, right? The fact that you can stand behind that experience or stand with that experience and say, hey, this gave me perspective. Here's what I learned from it. Here's how it made me a better person. I'll never forget it. It's always a part of me, but it's here.
Yep.
That tells me that is an experience that you learned from and gained knowledge and experience from versus a trauma that's going to hold you in place. And I think that's kind of the difference in what you guys were both kind of pointing at within that conversation.
100%. Well broken
The
down.
difference of experience, what we can extract, I guess, positively from it, versus investing almost too much in the negative aspect and letting it become that anchor that keeps us in place.
I try not to let that be the anchor of who I am. And anybody who's watching out there, it is not easy. And it took a very long time for me to try to get comfortable of talking about it because there's still other situations out there that was very tough to get past. But it's not easy. It takes time, and it takes people just to talk to. And it's going to, you're going to have to find somebody that understands you. And not everybody understands you. They can empathy. Like they don't understand, but they can sympathize. Yeah, exactly. Of what you're going through, and it's hard to understand of my trauma that I went through, and it's not easy, but it takes time. So, but again, I won't take it back for the world at all of what happened to me, and I think it was good.
I appreciate you so much.
No problem.
And I can just in hearing how the passion in your voice and just translating it's so real and it's so genuine and authentic, and I can definitely at least speak for myself and hopefully these guys and thank you for your service and we really appreciate you just coming on and sharing with us, bro.
Well, and so I just want to, since we're in the fields right now, and I actually I'm really enjoying being in the fields because part of this, I really do feel part of this podcast with us is kind of group therapy in a way. As I said earlier, we're allowed to talk and share openly.
4 dudes
talking. And sometimes girls,
ladies.
Sometimes
I
ladies.
apologize. Shout out, Kay.
But it's all of this stuff reminds me of when you would call me, and whether you were traveling the world and you would just video call me just to have a little piece of home with you, or you would call me when you were working in Afghanistan under contract and ask me about diagnostics on vehicles that you were working on, and bounce those off of me. I was this close to going to Afghanistan with you on contract, brother. I had everything. I remember. They didn't want to pay me enough for what my level of knowledge was to come over there, and so I walked away from it. But I've always been there for you, as a brother, and you've always been there for me as a brother. And I'm just saying, those experiences that you shared with me on such a personal level while you were over there and experienced all those things, that means so much to me, bro.
I appreciate it.
I don't think a lot of people get that experience from somebody that's close to them, that's overseas, where literally they're calling them as a friend, brother, friend, whatever, but that meant so much to me that you literally went out of your way to reach out to me. It was huge. Yeah. It was huge, bro. So.
It was only so many people I called that just made me feel comfortable and made me feel relaxed, because being over there as a soldier or contracting or anything over there, you're always on guard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you just never know what is going to happen to you, because every day was a blessing. And that's one thing I continue to live my life that way, because over there you just never know if a bombing is going to come over a wall and hit you. Or when I was driving, you never know when you're going to run over an IED driving a vehicle over there. And every mission that I went on and when I came back on was a blessing, which is I tried to live my life, which I'm still trying to live my life that way as I transition out of the military, since I got out of the military. So that's the reason why I'm traveling. That's the reason I'm seeing the world, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. every day is a blessing. Live life to the fullest, and just enjoy life while you can, because you never know when it's your time to kick the bucket. So
I was thinking while we were going through all this stuff, something that I learned that just kind of got put into more context now. So one of my instructors, his name is William April. Unfortunately, he's passed away now. But one of the things that he taught me was something called shock threshold. So for the individual citizen, concealed carrier person wants to be prepared or whatever, he recommended exposing yourself to a bunch of different fear, training to a high level on a bunch of different things to expand your shock threshold, such that if you experience these things in the real world, you'll spend less time going, holy shit, and more time, how am I going to fix this? And it was interesting, some of your perspectives from being over in Afghanistan, like the chicken wing thing, like, shit, a bomb, whatever. Eat these fucking wings, and the comfort thing, like, I walk around and I don't feel particularly fearful of very much, and that's not an arrogance thing, it's like a preparation thing. Like, I know I can deal with certain situations. There's, of course, other situations that I'm sure I can't deal with, right? But I wonder, from a society level, for the people that don't have any shock threshold anymore, they live in a pretty mundane existence. They're afraid of fucking everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And
especially when you're home for 18 months, being told fear, 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 don't trust your neighbors, don't talk to your neighbors, work from home, don't leave your computer.
I mean, and that's like a lot of the political disagreements right now. Like, people say, no, be afraid of this. I'm like, yeah, it's a thing, but also it's like 1% or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And
there's a lot of things.
And it's like, I disagree with that, because you're telling me trying to force me to do something for something I'm not really that all afraid of, but you're afraid of shit of it, And so, man, maybe we could all deal with expanding our shock threshold, so we don't fear shit so much.
I actually do very much so hold that. My cousin was a police officer for Tampa, and he helped build their virtual reality training many years ago, many years ago. Like when projectors and laser fired guns, real guns with a laser in them instead of a firing trigger.
They got one of those up the road.
Which is super cool.
Yes, they do.
So my cousin helped develop that technology with the Tampa Police Department, and he brought the whole system to Thanksgiving one year. No shit. And I got to go through their real life training situations where it's real video in the first person. Walking up to a vehicle for a traffic stop.
Super ambiguous.
Random truck in the country. Nothing out of place, except for the fact that when you walk up to the vehicle, he's holding a newspaper. And literally once your vision crests the window of the vehicle, that newspaper drops and he pulls a gun and fires. You have to react in that time to pull your gun and fire because as soon as his gun fires, that's your death.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to react and go from holstered to firing in a virtual situation. And I'm just saying, like, as a youth or whatever, and seeing this training, or one of the other situations was in a warehouse, and it's a hostage situation. Do you take the shot or not?
Right.
You have a pistol in your hand. You're looking down the lane of 45 meters away. A hostage situation. Guy with a gun to the hostage's head. Do you take the shot or not? And I took the shot. I hit him, in the game part of it. But in the real world situation, that's a whole nother there's a lot of certain phases in that you can't just take that shot.
So how do you? Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I want to get to a couple of these. But
Yeah.
I want to jump back to what you're saying as well. But before I forget, I'd like to ask you a question. That brought up a really good point. And again, I want to. We love you guys in the chat. We're going to get to your messages. I would like to ask you specifically what he talked about. You being a competitive shooter, and being an instructor with combatives. What do you find mechanically, biomechanically, chemically are the biggest differences, biggest hurdles to get over when that fear response comes in versus when you're on the range practicing or hitting steel, and when we're talking maybe real world scenario situations?
So like the newspaper guy, right? The lesson is it's happened so fast that you need to be able to react to it quickly. Well, that situation is kind of the Kobayashi Maru, right? It's like you can't react fast enough.
Yep.
The whole point is not to win.
But, well, there's some slight caveats, right? It's because you can cheat, right? Now, I remember seeing, it wasn't really a meme, but it was like a picture. And, there's the whole law enforcement race thing going on right now. But the picture was basically a white cop walking up to a car with a black man in it, right? And he had his hand on his gun. And people are like, oh, what the fuck, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you don't understand the rest of what's going on.
Sure.
You don't see inside the cabin or anything else. And I'm not saying you approach every vehicle with your hand on your gun. That's probably not the right answer. But at the same time, if he saw that newspaper or something that was like, I don't know about this. This is about the only way that you can get on target fast enough. But the biggest difference in terms of competition generally is like, how fast and how accurate can you be?
Yeah.
Raw speed, no other elements. I'm going to
you
tell
don't have people shooting next to you. You don't have bullets whizzing by your head.
There's nobody downrange shooting. The paper's not shooting at you, right? You know what the stage is. In fact, in most competition, you're able to walk the stage, meaning you know exactly what the array is,
where everything is,
and you get to plan it out, right?
So
now, I'm not saying that's easy.
There's no fear of death, but does fear of failure come into the equation?
Well, it shouldn't.
I think competition. I don't think it's fear of failure. It's competition.
Sure.
It's
well, I'm asking him specifically
from
his experience. Yeah.
Like, it's not so much fear of failure. I think that is a problem for some people, but I think it's at the lower end. I think at the higher end, or as you get towards the higher end, it's like, I need to stop thinking about the execution and simply rely on the skills that I've already invested in and trust that they'll work the way that I've practiced for them to work, instead of trying to actually think through the process. Because if I think through the process, I'm going to be like, all right, I need to do this fast as shit. And as soon as you do that, boom.
So, Sake, I know we got a whole bunch of questions here, but Sake did just, and in fact, this was actually something I was about ready to say, which maybe you can help with this. But the reason that a cop touches your taillight as he's walking up to your car, there is a specific reason.
There's a reason for that.
For why they do that. Maybe
put a fingerprint on the vehicle so that you can. It basically can be used as evidence later on, the fact that the cop did actually interact with that vehicle and it wasn't somebody else or a different vehicle.
Yeah.
So, I think in the universe of dash cams, it's like irrelevant now. But
relatively, yeah.
But
they still do it. They still do it. 100% of the time.
It's one of those. It's like a ritual.
Kind
of thing now. But that's the reason for that. But going back to the competition thing, you're only competing against yourself, really. There's no other force that's competing against you. As soon as you put that in, we've done it like, it's a damn airsoft pistol, but boy, it feels like the consequences are real. Even though
the life and death response isn't there, the fear goes.
Yeah.
We go from, we'll do 40 minutes, an hour of no-gi grappling, just jiu-jitsu, wrestling, moving around, having a good time. Everybody's getting their work in. Then as soon as the training weapons come out,
gets
boom.
Weird.
Yeah. And we're all like, yeah, we're gonna keep it light. We're gonna keep it light. Boom, blades out.
Hey, bro,
I'm bleeding. I thought it was a training knife.
And it's like an animal thing. There was the one that I did with Chris where I had that metal knife. and I got pretty close to his eye, but like trying to like rewind it in my head, I'm like, that didn't happen, but it did.
I almost murdered this guy. He's my friend.
Yeah, but it gets real competitive.
Absolutely.
You know,
as soon as the weapons get introduced.
Yeah.
Let's pop back onto some of these chats.
Yeah,
We're getting a little
we gotta
behind.
actually go all the way back up to Tracy, or
yeah. Well, I'm gonna swing back up here to Sake. Always checking in. Love you, brother. Love you guys. Thank you for the service, and we appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Justin, this is a really good topic and a great show. This will grow and go far. Everyone keep up the good work. Man, I hope you are right, brother.
I hope so,
I
too.
love you and
Yeah.
appreciate you,
I hope so,
brother.
I want to do that's why we're doing this though. And that's part of the reason why I switched it over to YouTube.
Start the next one whenever he's done.
Well, it's just that's part of the reason why I switched it over to YouTube, because I think we can reach more people with our content.
So Trace says, strong reminder that what some people experience is drastically different than others who formulate opinions based on external observation. Discourse can really open up windows for people and help us. That is so true. That is so true. Next one, exactly, Tracy. All who serves are different breed.
Yeah, Sake.
Yeah.
They are. You guys are. I mean,
Yeah.
I
It's all
found
different.
that most of the time, I'm going to say consistently different than the norm in a good way.
Oh yeah.
People who either are first or second generation Americans, meaning either themselves or their parents were not born in the country, or people that have served in the military. And I think the parallel there is seeing other civilizations in other countries, right? And Tracy D, love you. Thank you for checking in. I fully agree. Discourse is the only way to understand somebody with a different perspective.
So I don't know, Saki said, question off subject. In a word of sense, is the S and C silent? I can't. Oh.
Sorry.
I know,
I'm sorry.
That's Saki.
Those are my mods from Facebook, but
Yeah. Serious question: why does cop touch the back of the car? Oh,
Yep,
we
went over
answered
that.
that already. That's really smart. Yeah, it's changed some kind of feeling. Yeah. Hey. I can't read that. Probably so. On that last question.
Definitely.
Sven is up here chilling.
And Sake, yeah, we're all familiar with the four rules of firearm safety. That's one of the basic ones, man. Like Chris was talking about earlier with the knucklehead that was cleaning the bottom of his boot with the barrel of his firearm. Like, I mean, he sent me something on social the other day of an advertisement for a concealed carry class, because we offer that as well. Ethereal.llc if you guys are interested. We do in-home. We do all kinds of concealed carry training as well. But he sent me an advertisement, and the instructor is standing in front of, presumably the people that he just taught, and they're all standing there, fingers on triggers, barrels pointed at each other's heads. It's like, what the hell did you guys just learn in this class that you just did and took a picture for?
Gun safety is one of the things.
Like, literally, every single one of them, finger on, pointed at the person next to him, just like this.
What's that movie called? Like is there a safety? This is my
Black
safety,
Hawk
right?
Down.
Yeah. You already knew. You already knew off the bat.
Great fucking movie.
That also movie about that.
It's absolutely wild. Yeah. Your break got questioned there, Chris.
I know you got another beer.
Raven,
I'm glad I dropped it on the sidewalk
good
as
to
I
see you.
came in today. It didn't blow up.
So
on me.
let me ask. Military veterans are who are out there. When you watch a military movie, do you go out and say, like, this is wrong? This is wrong. Like, do you criticize all of the military movies that you see on there?
I can tell you, as a martial artist, I do it all the time.
You do?
Gun shit is ruined. For
Yeah,
me.
like
it
you
is.
can't appreciate probably anything for 90% of movies. 'Cause it's all garbage. Anytime I see a silencer in a movie, it makes me vomit. Or somebody hold a pillow over their Beretta, and
Okay.
pew, pew, pew.
The one exception to that, there was
No.
God. I'm gonna. And I
If
hate
you tell me the pillow over the barrel works, I will flip this
no,
table.
I'm not saying it works. It doesn't work. I'm not saying it works.
Wait, that's not a thing. He's
not
like,
a
hold
thing?
on a second. Hold on.
I was so looking to try something.
You gotta try the My Pillow.
I'm sorry, I have a daughter. It's part of the girl dad.
Girl
baby
dad.
thing.
It's a
I'm
girl
sorry.
dad.
Sorry.
Exactly. Girl dad thing. It's a girl dad thing.
No, there was a movie. I can't remember what the hell it's called now. Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. But it's this murderer dude that walks around. He's got a shotgun with a silencer on it. And
Shotgun was a silent. Oh, shit.
Yeah, and he like. Oh man, it's gonna bug the shit out of me.
Hopefully somebody on here will say it.
Yeah, 100%. And it was like
He said 100%.
It was silent. It was like disgustingly silent. But
and it was raining
just
and double
cool.
buckshot out of that bitch, too, wasn't it? Just painting the side of houses.
Yeah, I didn't mind that one at all.
Pew, pew. It sounded like a laser rifle. Oh, God. I love it, man. Like, it's ridiculous. So I can't speak so much to the military stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have way more experience on that than I do.
No
Definitely
Country
not.
for Old Men.
Yes. I thought that was
okay.
an air bolt thing, like the ones that they use for the cows.
He had that to get into the into the doors and shit.
Okay.
But he had
Oh,
a
that
shotgun
guy,
on
yeah.
the side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That guy was
I remember the little.
Yeah, he was brutal.
Yeah, the little.
He was very brutal.
That
Yeah.
thing was nasty. That was a good movie.
That was a good
It was a really good movie.
Crazy movie.
But like, in terms of like martial arts movies, like once I got away from, I was a huge kung fu like old school Japanese, Taiwanese kung fu, just crazy movies, any kind of martial arts, capoeira movies, any kind of kickboxing movies, anything I can get my hands on.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Everything. Once I started getting into actually, yeah, everything, dude. Being a martial artist, I started realizing like some of these guys are just fucking actors, and some of them are actual martial artists that happen to act. You know what I mean? And being able to tell the difference. So I'm sure for you, like, it's both of you guys, especially when it comes to like the firearms and shit. Like when you see movies and TV shows, there's a big difference between like Keanu, who went to Terran, I think, and did like 8 months of tactical training for John Wick.
He really can do that. Yeah, he can
versus
really
Joe Bumfuck, who's swirling his 44 Magnum around and lighting cigarettes with it and shit.
I got a question though. Who is an actor that doesn't really know karate? Like I can't think of nobody. Like
I mean, a lot of them have. I'll say stunt doubles mostly.
The stunt doubles,
they'll
yeah,
have a
okay.
stunt double per se.
Isn't Steven Seagal like legit Aikido?
Yeah, he was
Oh
a
yeah,
law enforcement officer.
oh yeah,
too.
he was law enforcement. Exactly.
No, he's a real martial
Steven
artist.
Seagal.
It's Vampire Anna. Oh no!
Favorite martial artist?
Ooh, Bruce Lee.
Movie or fighter?
Ooh.
Actor or fighter?
I go fighter.
All time or active? I gotta ask all time questions.
All time.
All time, George St. Pierre.
Really?
All time. One of the baddest motherfuckers, pound for pound in the history of the planet, I think.
Absolutely.
The history of fight sports. George St. Pierre. Prime GSP beats 99.9% of people that ever put on gloves, in my opinion. Again,
okay.
I say opinion.
Opinion, of course.
I think it's an arguable one, but I think you'd be tough arguing that one.
That is true. Okay. All right.
Martial arts in a movie? Tony Jock.
Tony Jock. Who's
Google
movie?
him.
What movie is
Google.
he from?
Tony Jock?
Ong Bak.
Oh no, yeah, you're talking like some like hardcore.
We talked about martial arts movies. No, yeah.
yeah,
Tony
no,
Jock.
you're-
J-A-A. Tony Jock.
You got me.
J-A-A, yeah.
You're talking like real martial art movies, not like Bruce Lee martial art
Well,
movies.
he was a thing for a while.
or
Until,
Jackie Chan.
Hollywood. Jackie Chan was.
No, he was in a movie.
Jackie
with the-
Chan was legit for a minute.
No, he was a martial artist, and he was he had no stunt double. He did
No,
everything
Jackie
himself.
Chan is straight up legit.
Oh, that guy. He was in that recent movie with the girl from
Monster Hunter?
yeah, Monster Hunter. Yeah.
He's in a bunch, but Ong Bak was the one that I fell in love with. That guy.
Oh, really?
He's like a Muay Thai fighter, dude. He's like, he's jumping off of like scaffoldings and dropping knees and
Karate
elbows through
Kid.
people.
No.
Mr. Miyagi.
No.
Wax on, wax off.
Yo, Van Damme. Bloodsport.
Okay,
Bloodsport.
wait.
Kickboxing.
Has
Yeah, come
anybody
on.
seen the Van Damme Volvo Penta truck commercial?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is absolutely one of the most insane commercials I've ever seen in my entire
I
life.
still don't know how he did that split on the countertop in the kitchen when they're in that one movie.
Who cares about a
yeah,
split on a countertop?
It's just
This dude did a split across two 18-wheelers going in reverse at speed. Like, that's a whole nother level of legit.
Justin, Jet Li. Jet Li was the man. One.
Yeah, one
was
was
the one,
awesome.
yeah, I said
one
one.
was awesome. That was like one of my first delves into like a interdimensional badassery kind of a movie, like wrapping my head around that. Did you ever see one? You're looking at me crazy.
I
So
have.
the,
It's a good
the
movie.
idea,
It's a very
I'm
good
talking about
movie.
this guy.
I can't believe he would have it. Like,
The idea is Jet
You don't
Li
like movies.
is a fighter, and Earth exists in different dimensions,
Yeah.
and he goes to Earth in these different dimensions in
He
a
kills
different
him.
way
He kills him.
to kill himself on that Earth, because then that energy is dispersed to the other remaining versions of himself.
Yep.
So he kills every version of himself that he can find until there's only one left. And those two now have the collective power of every version of him that ever existed.
That's like the Highlander with more.
Yes! There can be only one!
He cuts the heads off.
It's the
together.
Asian Highlander, but they don't cut each other's head off.
I actually have, you were talking to the going back and fighting yourself and everything. Has any of you seen the movie Tenet?
Tenet is awesome. I've watched it like 4 times.
It's
dude.
it's really
friggin' love
hard.
that
It's
movie.
really hard to follow. But it's absolutely one of
The manipulation of time is part of it,
Whose
so-
son is that? It's Glover's. Is that Danny Glover's son?
No, that's not him. No,
You're
it's not
thinking
him.
of Childish Gambino.
No,
Yeah, you think
Childish Gambino.
Donald
No,
Glover,
it's
yeah.
it's somebody else's kid. Denzel. It's Denzel's kid.
Oh yeah,
Maybe.
John David Washington.
It's
Yeah,
Denzel's
John David
kid.
Washington.
Fantastic.
And it is absolutely a great movie, but
Really?
it's about a
It's
machine that you go.
You're gonna give it away.
Oh man, I'm telling
You're
you,
gonna give parts of the movie
I'm
away.
just saying, you go backwards
It's worth
and
watching.
forward in time, backwards
Yeah.
and forward in time at the same time,
It's
really
a
really
suspenseful
cool.
time travel movie. It's
It's
worth
really
watching.
cool. I
You'll
definitely
watch it
really
twice.
enjoyed it.
It's dope. Check it out. That's our commercial for Tenet.
Is it newer? Is it in
It's
the
newer,
Okay.
newer. Amazon or not
HBO
Amazon,
Max.
HBO
HBO
Max,
Max.
HBO Max.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
I tried to watch the Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. That's an Amazon Prime.
I
That
saw-
was a good one. I liked that one.
I saw
I don't
five.
know.
I
I
saw
don't know.
5 still
Hey.
photos of their weapons and how ridiculous it was. And the internet ruins everything. Let me tell you
Yeah,
first and
internet
foremost.
does ruin
Before I got to see the movie, I saw 5 still photos of their weapons and how
stupid.
poorly inaccurate they were, and I went,
Yeah.
pass.
No, it was.
Pass.
It was actually.
Someone wrote like a whole thing about it.
Dude,
and I was like,
it was
yeah,
a
that shit is
thing.
accurate.
It was.
But that
It
was
was
a
bad.
good like beer pizza movie.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I won't
I-
argue
I've
that.
seen it. I've seen it.
Tenet was way more, and Tenet was almost more on the level of Inception,
Yeah.
as far
You gotta pay
as
attention.
as far as
Shutter Island and
mentally
shit.
thinking through
Yeah.
the things that are going on in the movie, and it's impossible. You will not get it, all of it the first run.
Second
It's
watch
the second, third, or
necessary.
fourth watch where you really start to see what's going on and how they actually put the movie together in a timeline. Because when you're watching it the first time, you're trying to figure out what effing timeline they're on, and so it's really cool though. But it's definitely a multi-watch.
What was the other movie that was like that? Interstellar.
No, Interstellar was it was
That was
Inception.
Matthew McConaughey.
It was
Yeah,
Inception.
No, there was a time.
It was
fucking,
that
like,
one.
in
Of Matthew
space.
McConaughey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we're talking about the relativity of
Yeah.
time and
Yeah, I
gravity.
think Interstellar,
and,
so that was a good one.
I love
too.
Interstellar. I have that on my Amazon Prime, but no, like I watch it all the time.
He was gonna say Laserdisc.
The Arrival. The Arrival.
The
was
Arrival
another
was a good
time
one. Very good one. Very good one.
So listen, I posted on Facebook last night on my personal, and I got like no response. So I'm assuming I'm alone on this. But Chad, if you're feeling me on this, please say something. Stargate. Did anybody watch Stargate?
Actually, no. I saw your post. SG1.
Okay.
Absolutely was.
I started
a great
watching.
Movie.
SG1
Well,
is the TV show.
No, yeah, but like
Stargate,
the original
the movie.
Stargate movie that spawned that off.
Amazing. I started watching SG1 again, the sci-fi
Yeah.
television show. The shit holds up, dude. Like a lot of that older stuff, like
Yeah.
It's
it
better
doesn't
acting.
hold up. But Richard Dean Anderson, first and
I think
foremost,
it's
who
gonna be
doesn't love
great.
fucking MacGyver, right? I mean,
Yeah,
come
right
on.
on, man.
And like the allegory, it's so wild because you got to think about it. Like they're U.S. government and they're traveling through this interdimensional gate and meeting different species, right? But at the same time, they don't realize that these other species are just like seeded humanoids from all over. But so they treat them crappy. It's really weird because they make all these really funny parallels that are like exactly
Huge.
what we're fucking going through right now. But
Huge
without
parallels.
an interdimensional gate, we're just doing it to each other. It's so funny. I'm sitting there watching it like, holy crap! They pretty much predicted
What's going on right now?
It's like sitting and watching The Simpsons.
Simpsons, I was
15
gonna say
years
The
ago.
Simpsons.
It's like holy crap.
But I think you actually can predict a lot of social discourse
Oh,
down
absolutely.
the line
Absolutely.
relatively easily. I don't think you
But
can.
Trump walking down an elevator, bro?
I don't
know.
think you can
How do you predict that?
I don't think you can necessarily predict it in the ways that some of these things did or
Justin,
didn't.
that's enough out of you. I love Stargate, man.
Speaking
Shut
of
your mouth, SA.
I was dying while you were saying that, and I wasn't trying to be rude. But
It's
I was
okay.
thinking of like cheesy like sci-fi channel shit,
Yeah.
that Scott Bakula show.
Yeah.
Tell me, you do not talk about Quantum Leap, bro.
No, I was just
His
thinking
next
of-
leap could be the leap home.
Really? You really serious? I'm gonna be like Starship Trooper or something.
No, Quantum Leap, bro.
I was just thinking
that was the shit. Ziggy! Yeah, fucking Ziggy!
The one episode where
Oh,
he,
y'all
like,
remember Quantum Leap?
he's in like a kid's room, and then he walks to like a mirror in the room, and it's a kid with Down syndrome. He's like, I'm retarded.
There's one where he's a black dude in the civil rights era.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
that show was fucking
Yeah.
legit, bro.
I think
They dealt with some real shit.
Yeah, but you know what? So did Star Trek, though, because Star Trek
All
did
of
the
it.
same thing
It's the
with
same
going
idea.
to
Different worlds.
different worlds.
Star Wars
and-
too. Don't worry.
No, not Star Wars. No,
what?
no, Star Wars did not do that.
That was about a
That
cult
was a
of
whole
religious
different-
zealots that killed people with laser swords. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, you believe Star Trek but not Star Wars? I see what you're saying. Okay.
That was a cult
Star
of
Trek is
religious
okay.
guys that
Star
murdered
Wars
people.
are like that.
No. But Star Trek dealt a little bit more.
They're
in
meeting
a-
different worlds. They're setting up
in a-
trade. They're.
I think it was a lot different. I think it was a lot
It was more
different.
broad. Yeah.
But there's a lot of parallels. I mean, it's loose, but
Star Trek
you
was
could make
more
them,
about
you know what I mean?
exploring, where Star Wars was more, or Star Trek was more about exploring and gaining knowledge and fighting through that. And Star Wars,
It's
to
in
me,
the title. It's a war.
was more just about fighting. There was no real discovery until you hit like the shows like The Mandalorian, where like you're discovering more about
The different
Rhodesi's
worlds and shit.
race
Yeah.
and things that like weren't highlighted in the actual movies.
I think
He did
it's,
that
it's-
run in 7 parsecs. Okay.
it really, if we're gonna be fair, it really chronicles a war in the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're going with that right now.
Wow.
It's supposed to be like profound.
I like how you said the war in the stars. I'm like, yeah.
I don't know.
But obviously, this
I
is
feel
only,
like I got
This
taken
is water.
advantage of.
I just had to lead you down the road just a
This
little.
is only water, people.
It's,
Okay.
but it's in the title, right? You're
Yeah,
talking about
the stars.
the trek, right? Which is, but literally, it's in the name. The trek, which is about the journey. The war is what?
In the
war,
stars.
right?
War.
It's
In
a
the
war.
stars.
It's a war in the stars. It's not about land wars.
Is it the war?
There's no
of the
Aquaman.
stars?
Yeah, no, I
Okay. It's a war in the stars.
Hey, Jar Jar had some shit in the water, dude.
Right? That's true.
Nobody,
And, you
listen.
know-
Nobody that talks about Star Wars ever brings up Jar Jar in a positive way. That would be the first time Jar Jar is
But
used for an argument.
when you do have a show that talks about Star Wars, there is inevitably always a super fan of Jar Jar of Darth Jar Jar.
Yeah.
There's a Darth Jar Jar?
Yeah,
There's a
that's-
theory.
There's a theory
yeah.
of Darth Jar Jar.
Please explain this to me,
It's
somebody.
I don't know. We're not gonna talk about
Absolutely
that. So Jar Jar is positive, okay? There's no Darth Jar Jar. We're not.
nightmare fuel.
No, we're not talking about that at all. I'm gonna drink my water.
He was there to make the kids come, man.
It was, I'm just saying.
No.
No Darth Jar Jar.
It was
Too many beers.
so. Yeah, no,
Jar
but
Jar,
I,
real
you know,
dark.
but what that goes to show is that the mind can put things together in your own way that makes sense to you, whether it makes sense to anybody else or anything of that nature. But to where you can justify that reasoning. That's how our minds work. Our minds are intelligent in the way of justifying our reasoning. You know, what is the reason for us to be this or that? And what do we do to justify that?
And we seek agreement and acceptance of it
Exactly.
once we come to a conclusion.
All we want is agreement and acceptance. We don't want dissent and conversation.
How do you come to the conclusion, though? Who do you believe? Who do you trust?
It's not, I think so. I got into a personal issue with somebody in my life,
Yeah.
and they wronged me and whatever, right? And I felt really slighted, and I went to my wife, and basically it was like, told her a story, and I'm like, yeah, isn't this person an asshole? And my wife's like, yeah, well, maybe, but also, you know, you could have been an asshole too, and like this, that, and the other thing. Wait a second. I just need you to say yes.
You need to agree with
What
it.
is all of it?
It's all this opinion stuff.
Yeah, and I was like,
I
all
didn't
right.
ask you for your opinion.
I have to, like, after a while, like, all right, I have to set things aside and, of course, accept that they have their perspective, even though it's fucking wrong, you know, and just say whatever, right? And just
Is
set
it wrong
aside.
to you, or is it wrong to like?
It's wrong to me.
It's wrong to you.
Yeah.
But it may not be wrong for him though.
Nobody
Unfortunately, no.
ever. we talked about it before too.
this-
Nobody ever acts unless they believe they're correct, right? You don't ever do something
Right.
that you believe is intentionally wrong. It might be wrong in hindsight,
Yeah.
but you don't act intentionally in the wrong, right? You do what you believe is right at that time. Otherwise, why would you do it?
And if it's wrong in hindsight, you will never admit to that.
Well, that's because identity gets tied into the attachment
Of the decision, yeah.
into
Yeah.
that ego attachment to that idea, right? I get tied up with I identify myself with that.
So it brings up an important thing for me is that I'm lucky to have what's the what?
Sake is talking shit. Scott wants to see Jay and Chris do non-lethal hand-to-hand combat against me, and I would get absolutely destroyed.
Guys, you got to realize how boring that would be, especially a 2-on-1.
Yeah, like
That wouldn't even be fun to watch.
We'll do live streams of like roles.
we
and
will
shit
be.
eventually,
We
yeah.
will be doing. We are 100%
It is coming, guys, for
working
sure.
towards that. The stage and the studio needs to be set properly, and we
parking.
will 100% be bringing you some really great content as far as that goes.
Parking problem right now.
There's a big parking problem. It's inside the building.
Logistics.
Logistic problems.
Logistics. But as soon as we are at a place where we are comfortable presenting to you guys what we do with the quality that we do it with on a normal basis, we will absolutely be pumping you guys with all kinds of stuff. If you do want to check out some of the stuff we do, like I said before, check out our YouTube, ethereal.llc. Filed under there, you'll find some of our training videos. We've got some techniques broken down, as well as all the previous podcasts up to this point, all archived. Check
Hey,
that
Sake,
out.
I just want you to know, I was a state wrestler, so these guys may know how to grapple, but I do remember exactly.
The state he's talking
How to-
about.
I know
was
what state you're
fear.
talking about.
Fear is that state.
The state wrestling I was talking about was Texas. Real wrestling.
But in Texas, known for the football.
No, Texas is known for the wrestling.
Okay.
Wrestling.
Wrestling.
They're known for the
Where you
wrestling.
from again?
Whether it be calf wrestling or woman wrestling, that's what Texas is known for.
I don't know. Well, it's different for me being a lower belt, but normally, like when the big wrestler dude comes into the gym, white belt, I'm like, God damn it, man, come on.
Just saying, wrestlers are not fun to try and do. Like if you were in any kind of high school wrestling or anything, like you know how to move around. Especially, like, I'm a squirrely guy. I've taken on guys Tony's size, but I don't take them on face to face. I jump
My
up
side, but not necessarily me. 'Cause
I
know
would
I can
never-
win.
I would never do that to Tony. But no, like you know, the only times I've done that are in situations where I was trying to pull them out of beating up somebody else, like and it's a situation of taking them down and disabling them because they're bigger than me. I can't hold them down in a normal way. Generally, it's me jumping on your back and putting you in a full four leg
Since we
spread
have
eagle. Just
a
saying.
black belt and a combatives instructor in the room, maybe we leave the grappling conversation to those guys.
No, I'm just saying
We
that's,
got a
that's,
lot of super chats.
that's just
Non-super
what
chats to
I've done.
catch up
I
on
am
here.
not in any way trained. That's why I laugh at these boys.
Justin, Beavis and Butthead Do America is a hard movie to follow because it's so stupid. It's funny. Yeah, there's a lot that.
I actually really missed it.
That's a
watched
great
that
movie.
again.
Like we could have probably a whole nother episode just on like all the crap that you can't get away with anymore. But like all
Yeah.
the old really,
America?
yeah, all the old really good
When they
stuff that's not that old that you can't say anymore.
When they actually played music on
How about just
MTV?
comedy, anything?
Yep.
Like The Office. They interviewed Steve Carell a couple months ago about redoing The Office. He's like, we couldn't make that show right now. Are you kidding me?
No.
There's no way I would do that show. I'd be off the air.
I would be canceled.
And in this new day and age, it's
No, it would be
Oh,
canceled
dude,
instantly.
there's no way. Go back and watch the first two seasons of The Office.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
There's no
very
way.
sad.
I watched some
There's
of it.
no
not all.
way
Very
they
good.
could make
I mean,
that show
shoot,
right
I
now.
don't even think they can make half of the controversial shows that they
Not
ever
at
did.
all.
It's just too.
Chappelle Show.
It's too
Oh,
triggering.
sure,
Chappelle
no,
Show,
not
Full
even
House.
close. Not even close.
Well, they
Family
tried
Ma-
to make Full House
Family
too
Matter?
or something, but
Go back to Justin again. Go follow The Sopranos. Man, that was a great series on HBO. Also, Oz was excellent. Listen, Oz
the jail
scarred
movie.
me, dude.
The
Oz
the
scarred
jail.
me. Listen, it kept me on the straight and narrow. Watching Oz as a kid when I wasn't supposed to made sure I fucking never got in trouble.
That dude
bro.
on the wheelchair and
I
stuff
did
with the
not
dreads.
wanna-
Yeah,
bro,
no.
No,
the
you
guy
know-
with the fucking razor blade in the side of his mouth that was walking around trying to suck other dudes.
yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah. No,
Jesus.
Yeah. You never
Bro,
seen the movie?
What did that for me though?
Oz is brutal.
What did that for me though was my uncle Johnny was a deputy sheriff in the county jail in Buffalo, New York. Buffalo, New York. Okay, he took and put me and my cousin in a maximum security jail cell. And looked over at the lady that controlled him and said, "Close the door" when we walked in, and then literally looked at it and was like, "You gotta cry like a little bee in order to get out of here, just like the rest of the prisoners do."
Oh my God.
Oh yeah,
Did you make you turn your pockets
Oh
inside
no,
out,
it
too?
was
You gonna finish your
it was
comb,
the
bro?
real deal experience. There were real prisoners, real big time criminals on either side of us, yelling and screaming their own stuff. Obviously, none of it was ever gonna. We were never in danger. They were all behind but. It's
Behind you?
I was close enough behind bars.
Oh.
I was close enough.
I was like, Jay, you want something you want to talk about?
The cocktail.
I was close enough that scared me out of ever
Fuck yeah, man.
wanting to be anywhere near a jail.
The threat of impending prison rape is enough to scare most people.
having
in the
to
straight fucking
cry to get out, like literally scream for your life,
barrel. Oh
like.
my God.
Before the person, because he was their boss.
Yeah.
Like, they did what he told them to, and like that was 15 minutes of hell that I never want to go back to.
Craig, you know Craig Douglas?
Yeah.
I heard him. So he has a funny saying in class because he does all the combative stuff, and he's like, if a lot of dudes will take like rifle classes, and he's like, listen. If you can't fight 6 dudes off in the shower from keeping them from raping you, the last thing you need is another fucking rifle class.
Straight up.
Ain't that the truth?
Straight up. Tony, you want to catch up on something?
Yeah, let's catch
Yeah,
up, man.
catch it up on the comments.
Saki, Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, why men wouldn't love him. True. I love
Deadpool.
I didn't hear about Deadpool until I saw the movie because was it DC?
Marvel.
Marvel. Excuse me. Yeah.
Marvel.
Amazing movie. One of my favorite movies right
And it
there.
was like self-written by Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
My only qualm with Ryan Reynolds, and I find him hilarious. I will put that out there first. I find him hilarious. He's
Yes,
Ryan
he is
Reynolds in every movie.
Did you guys see his TikTok?
That's right.
He's Ryan Reynolds in
He's
every
Ryan
movie.
So you like the Green Lantern?
No, the movie was awful. He's an
He's
actor.
still Ryan
He
Reynolds.
was
He's still
funny.
Ryan Reynolds.
He was funny, but the movie was awful.
He like terrible, but he was still Ryan Reynolds.
What was that shit where they work in a restaurant? What was that movie?
Waiting.
Waiting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Batwing.
The Batwing. the goat.
Did you guys see their latest TikTok though?
No.
Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell.
No.
Oh my God!
Ryan
It
Reynolds
is-
was the Wolverine guy a few times.
Yeah, no, but like literally, probably one of the best short TikToks in the last year that I've seen, and it just dropped recently. It is Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. It is absolutely freaking hysterical.
We'll check it out.
Yeah,
I can bring it up.
Well, hold on, let's
We
get
only got
to
a
it.
couple minutes left. Let's
Yeah.
get to
Yeah,
the
we all
chat.
got a couple minutes. Let's
Really?
get-
Tracy was saying can't talk about Quantum Leap. I don't know why.
Nobody messing with Quantum Leap.
Nobody messes with Quantum Leap.
He like Ziggy's legit. Ziggy's legit. Man, man, well, swinging 6 and buzzing the green golf. We need a flux capacitor now to rewind and then come back to the show.
That's what I'm talking about. We're gonna go back.
We need a flux capacitor.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, the same thing. Chris has 1 beer and shows a limit now.
One brewski per show, Chris. They put you on a limit, buddy.
You're like, oh, I still need Jay and Chris to show a non-lethal hand-to-hand combat against Gurdad.
Don't get him started.
I think everybody wants to see that.
Bypass.
I think everybody wants to see
He's
that.
gonna start telling us about all of his touchdowns again.
And you know, it's still going on. They were like, that'll be amazing.
4 touchdowns would get.
Let's do it. And I'm like, you know what? I think that should be our next show right there.
I think so.
No, guys, we will
coming up
definitely,
soon.
we
I'm
will
saying.
100%. I'll pledge it to you right now. With Coach Chris and myself, we will both do a one-on-one live stream class. I can do a combatives or jiu-jitsu class, and Chris can do a pistol 1 class with Girl Dad, so he can stream it. So
Right
you guys
here
can
on
see
YouTube.
exactly what we do. We would love to do
Especially
that for you
the
guys.
combat
But they want to
trailer.
see Girl Dad like in it, like being like,
Oh,
hey,
and I
you want to
will.
choke
Guys,
him out.
he
No, they
is
want
going.
me
He
to
wants
get
to see
choked
choked out. They
We
want to
will
see
be
him.
instructing
they
Girl
wanna-
Dad
yeah.
through the class.
They want to
Yes.
see me.
They wanna see him
get
choked
tasered.
out.
Absolutely.
They want to see me get tasered.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, 500,000 stars for me. To
There's a number.
There's a number.
We got a number.
And then, you know what? And then, swinging
500,000 stars on Facebook for me
Swinging
to get
Sticks
tasered.
also agreed with me right there. It was like, hey, there's wrestle in Texas? Because I thought it was football. I'm like, thank you. I really thought it was
There's
only
pit
football.
wrestling. There's Jello wrestling.
I didn't know.
All right, I'm gonna click into a voice here. Right?
Yeah.
Only thing I ever heard from Texas was steers and queers.
Well, hell,
And I don't see
I
no
sure as
horns,
hell ain't the
boy.
latter on those two. And
I ain't seen no horns there, James.
Yeah, no, and I guess he also said James had his own Oz experience in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Oh God! No, stay out of New York.
James was in the wheelchair.
He'll
Don't worry
never
about
go
it.
to upstate New York again.
Oh, man.
I say we dress James up in one of those canine suits and release the dogs. So, man, Justin, I don't know what to do with you sometimes. What do we got here? You were on the wrestling team's water boy. No, yes, I was the water boy on the wrestling team.
It's okay. Look at your size. It's all right. It's cool.
Yeah, no, it's called wrestling against your weight.
So Sake, the way he played sax and wrestled, funny story. He exhales out of one hole and inhales out of the other.
Yeah, no, actually, that was those were 2 different years, and sax was 2 years of just being forced to do something and not wanting to be in choir.
And then wrestling was 2 years of being forced to do something.
Forced to do
on a
something,
mat.
and then I switched over to choir because you couldn't they
you
wanted to
sing
do
choir?
marching band. Yeah, I had to switch over to choir because.
Girl, Dad, how do we not know that
I
you
know.
sing?
Yeah,
what
no,
song do you
because,
sing?
You got to take us
You
out.
know,
with
you
a
gotta
fucking
take us out
hymn.
in the
Oh yeah, no,
singing.
but if we're gonna do that, we got to work on some Temptations.
Bro, I will harmonize the shit out of some shit.
Let's go.
We do like a
You know.
multi ebony and ivory thing.
Yeah,
going
no,
on, whatever.
100%.
Chris is like, no, that's cool.
Baby, it's cold outside.
And Mickey Mouse is on the baseline like,
I know.
But it is getting towards the end of our stream. It
Yes.
is 9 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. I can't thank you guys enough for being here and making this a successful first broadcast.
2 hours.
2
Yes.
hours of
It
talking.
went by really fast.
That was
too.
awesome.
We filled it up. It was great.
It's our first 2-hour show, man.
Yeah, no, you guys chat was interactive.
Yeah.
Everybody, we all had a lot of great things to say.
But we
and-
missed one important part.
What's that?
This is like the most important part that we have not addressed at all.
Okay,
since
well
I've
you
been
got
here.
you got 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Oh, it's going to take me like 10 seconds.
Okay,
Okay.
10 seconds.
All right. What is on your toes right now?
Nail
What?
polish.
He's a girl dad. He's a girl dad too.
I was like, what is it?
That's
Sorry,
not
there is no feet pics. That's on his OnlyFans. Tracy takes care of his
ASMR.
OnlyFans.
I know.
but,
Yeah. So listen, the toe game stays tight. Stays tight. Anybody that does martial arts where they practice barefoot, you will find really enjoys taking care of their feet if they've done it long enough.
Yeah.
Otherwise, their feet go to shit. With that being said, I've got a beautiful little princess that enjoys painting my
Painting
toenails.
toenails. It looks
so I've got
good.
this dope aquamarine, rose gold, sparkle thing going on.
My
Listen,
toenails just came off.
You
I
see,
mean,
you like I couldn't pay for this.
I know. You know.
So what it is, I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's a conversation starter.
Like, hey, what's on? You want to buy? Need a drink? What's on your big toe?
Right? So like that.
All right, chat. We're gonna have to bring this to an end. I can't thank Chris, Tony, and Jay enough for again another amazing episode, and thank all of you for all the interactions and conversations. We look forward to continue growing this, and make sure and share it out with your friends, family. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Hit that subscribe.
Hit the like. We need 1,000 subscribers for this channel to be monetized, so that we can bring in big sponsors and get some things going on. So make sure and share these podcasts out with your family and friends, and give them a chance to check it out. And we love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Girl Dad Gamers, you guys are killer. You've always been there for me, and you've been there for my crew. And we look forward to bringing you guys some really cool content in the next 6 months. So, stay tuned.
Thank you, everyone.
Follow us on ethereal.llc on your social. Thank you, guys.
See ya.
We're out.